7 years into our marriage, the pet, Holden Winchester, kept on the side, got bored. She turned tail and ran, leaving behind only one sentence. "Holden, I've got enough of your money. Now I don't want you anymore either." I watched from the sidelines, coldly waiting to see how long Holden could tolerate this. After all, scenes like this had been playing out constantly for the past 3 years. But this time, he just smiled with terrifying indifference. She's just a pet. Did she really think I gave her my heart? That was until not long after, news broke that her car had crashed and burned. The man who had always been cold and unfeeling instantly went insane. After Mia died, Holden acted like a man possessed. He locked himself in his study, refusing to eat or drink. I knocked on the door. The only response was a cold, "Get out." I knew he was grieving. I wanted to apologize. But I shut my mouth, realizing how ridiculous I was being. We hadn't divorced yet. He was the one who cheated. Why should I be the one to say sorry? I looked at the cold dinner on the table. The soup I had spent 5 hours simmering had formed a congealed film on top. It smelled faintly of decay. I dumped it all into the trash compactor, just like our 20-year bond. If I didn't throw it out now, it would only rot and breed maggots. Disgusting to me, and disgusting to everyone else. On the 8th day, Holden finally emerged. He had cleaned himself up, shaved, and returned to his usual untouchable, elite persona. But the look he gave me was darker than ever, as if I were the one responsible for his beloved's death. I looked at him calmly, waiting for the storm. We had known each other for years, married for 7. From school uniforms to wedding gowns, I always thought we were walking the same path. But halfway through, someone decided to get off the bus. I was forced to accept it. "Where is she?" Holden's voice was dead, devoid of emotion. After a long silence, I whispered, "Buried." Holden's face instantly darkened. He looked at me with intense hatred. "Genevieve, who gave you permission to bury her? Do your dirty hands even deserve to touch her?" His eyes were ferocious, grinding the words out through clenched teeth. I could feel that if I weren't pregnant right now, he would have rushed over to strangle me. But I overestimated my place in his heart. The next second, I was pinned against the sofa. His large hand tightened around my throat, squeezing the last bit of air from my lungs. The world spun. Darkness encroached on my vision. Sounds faded away. His tone was maniacal. "You really think being pregnant makes you safe? It's just a mistake. Did you really think I'd care about it? Mia is dead. Don't worry, you and the little bastard in your belly are next." The terror of suffocation made me want to scream for help, but my throat was clamped shut. Not a sound came out. I realized then that Holden really wanted me dead. I don't know how much time passed before the weight vanished, followed by the sound of the front door slamming. Consciousness slowly returned. I sat on the sofa, dazed. I picked up my phone and scheduled an appointment at the clinic. Holden and I were childhood sweethearts, but we were also a business merger. Our parents arranged the match when we were 3. We got our marriage license before we even graduated college. Life after marriage was harmonious, happy even. Maybe it was his upbringing, but Holden was never one to be surprised by anything. He didn't know how to yield, how to love, or how to say sweet things. But he would prepare small surprises for me. On my birthday, he would bake a cake himself. Then, like a magic trick, he produced the necklace I'd been eyeing and hugged me tight. "Jen, it's not that I don't have a heart.
Give me time.
I'll figure out how to love you properly. Don't give up on me, okay?" Every time he said that, I would nod vigorously, whispering that we had a lifetime to figure it out. In the heat of the night, he would lean close to my ear, whispering intimate things that made me blush. When did it change? Maybe the day Holden met Mia. I had pushed myself too hard the day before and couldn't wake up. He went to a scheduled event alone. Mia was someone else's assistant. Fresh out of college, nervous and stiff. She smiled shyly, harmless and cute. She didn't know how to play golf, so she boldly asked Holden to teach her. They exchanged numbers. From meeting to starting an affair took less than 2 weeks. Mia quit her job and jumped ship to his company. Holden kept her by his side, teaching her everything, cultivating her like a rose waiting to bloom. The funny thing is, I never even got a chance to confront her. Holden hid her too well. I tried to investigate, but found nothing. Instead, I'd face his rage the next day. Once, I paid a fortune to get Mia's personal info. Before I could do anything, a dossier on my father's mistress landed on my desk. And not just my dad. The privacy of everyone in my family was laid bare. Holden's warning was clear. If I targeted Mia, my family's dirty laundry would be aired to the public. That night, I smashed everything in the villa in front of him. Holden just sat on the sofa, watching me break things with indifference. He looked at me like I was the crazy one. Funny, now he's the one who's gone crazy. That night, just as I fell asleep, his assistant called me. "Miss Sterling, Mr. Winchester is digging up the grave. Please come stop him." I laughed. I was the wife Holden married, yet everyone called Mia Mrs. Winchester and referred to me as Miss Sterling. Since the last time I decided to divorce and then ghosted him, Holden had announced on the company's official social media, "Mia is the only wife I recognize in this life." After that day, I became the laughingstock of the city. I pulled the corner of my mouth. My neck still throbbed with pain. If it's his business, call the Winchester family. Don't tell me. It has nothing to do with me. I hung up. I never thought Holden would stoop to grave robbing. Since he got with Mia, we talked about divorce more often than we ate dinner. But it never happened. Either I refused, or Mia called him away with some excuse. The last time was 2 months ago. Holden offered me half his assets to sign the papers. I agreed. But the day before we were to sign, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't show up. Holden blew up my phone that day. That was also the day Mia left. When Holden's grandfather, the patriarch of the family, found out, he talked to Holden all night. Holden might ignore everyone else, but he respected the old man. The next day, Holden withdrew all his search teams. He stopped looking for her. We didn't speak again. Divorce wasn't mentioned. I thought that even if he didn't care about me, he cared about the child. Now, I see that trying to use a child to tie down a man was the most pathetic thing I've ever done. The next day, I went to the clinic. I'm not a saint. I didn't want to be a single mother. I can live without love, but my child should be born into a whole family. The procedure was quick. I was discharged that afternoon. Now that the child was gone, divorce was just a piece of paper. Holden hadn't shown up once during this time. But of course, he was scouring the world for his little lover. He refused to believe Mia was actually dead. 7 years of marriage. I didn't have much stuff, but it wasn't little either. I hired someone to set up a burn barrel in the yard. I burned everything that could burn. The jewelry I couldn't burn I sold. I didn't want to take a single thing from this villa, nor leave a trace behind. Might as well burn it all. When Holden returned, he walked in just as I threw our wedding photo into the fire. I was surprised. I hadn't seen him in over a month. I thought he'd died of heartbreak. Through the smoke, his eyes were cold. He looked at me like I was already dead. He was holding a funerary urn. As he passed me, Holden suddenly shoved me. If the butler hadn't been quick enough to catch me, I would have fallen into the fire. My face would have been ruined. A chill shot up from the soles of my feet. Holden had truly lost his mind. He was using this to get revenge. Holden clicked his tongue, as if disappointed I hadn't fallen. "Clean this up." He turned and went upstairs. A nameless fire roared to life in my chest. Holden keeping a mistress? I tolerated it. Threatening my family? I tolerated it. Mia's constant provocations? I tolerated it. Him getting me drunk and pregnant? I tolerated that too. I endured it all for 3 years. Now he openly wanted me dead. I wasn't going to endure it anymore. If that's how it is, let's all burn. I rushed up, grabbed Holden's arm, and spun him around. I slapped him across the face with everything I had. His head snapped to the side. He stared back at me with eyes like ice. Looking at the red handprint on Holden's face, I felt a flash of immense satisfaction. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We divorce. I didn't cause Mia's death. Don't dump your dirty water on me. You know exactly how I got pregnant. I didn't show up for the divorce that day because your mother took me to the family estate. And your little lover? Your mother ordered the burial because she couldn't stand seeing you act like a ghost. Don't pin your guilt on me. Holden didn't react to my explanation. I didn't care if he believed me. It had nothing to do with me anymore. I made myself clear. As I left the Winchester villa, I thought about the question Holden had asked me once. Have you ever tasted the feeling of your beloved dying? Beloved?
Huh.
How did I answer him back then? Oh, right. I said, Holden, to me, you've been dead for a long time. When two people are in love, they can't see anyone else. Once, I couldn't see Mia. Now, Holden couldn't see me. After all these years, are you really okay with this? Luke was our mutual friend. During this 3-year toxic triangle, he was the one who fed me news about Mia. Okay with it? 7 years of love, hate, and entanglement. It's not like I hadn't fantasized about him coming back to me. But when Mia died, I understood. Being on either side of being chosen is a losing game. I chuckled and flicked the ash from my cigarette. Since finding out about Mia, I'd picked up smoking. I didn't like drinking, was afraid of doing something I'd regret, so I smoked to release the pressure. Trying to find some relief for a heart that had long since gone numb. Seeing I wasn't speaking, Luke continued. Mia is dead. You've tolerated him for 3 years. Why not wait a bit longer? He'll come back to you eventually. Plus, you have the kid. Even if Holden agrees to divorce, the Winchester family won't. I don't need their permission. I hadn't told anyone about the abortion. Seeing he couldn't persuade me, Luke got visibly agitated. Are you stupid? What if Mia isn't even dead? I frowned. What do you mean? He was silent for a moment, then gritted his teeth and spilled everything. Mia wasn't dead.
That I didn't expect.
Mia ran away in a huff and got into an accident. Holden's grandfather, wanting us to work it out and knowing I was pregnant, lied and said she died. He hid her away to make Holden give up. But they didn't expect their grandson to go crazy enough to dig up a grave. His mother, terrified her son would die of grief, finally cracked. They had already brought her back. Luke sighed, trying one last time. It doesn't have to end in divorce. General, I can tell he still has you in his heart. Now that the truth is out, just have the baby. With your family and the Winchesters watching, Mia can't touch you no matter how much she jumps around. And then, I stubbed out the cigarette, asking calmly. I understood the situation now. Luke froze. Seeing my expression remain flat, he swallowed his words. I ignored him and continued. Then I continued to tolerate them like before. Watch Mia jump in front of me now and then. Watch them play their game of run and chase. Wait until my child is born so he can endure this with me. And when Mia gets bored and fakes her death again, my child and I get to be her sacrificial lambs. It was laughable. I remembered him choking me, calling my child a mistake, then turning around to dig up Mia's grave. He took 30 lashes from the old man just for news of her. And when he came back, he tried to push me into a fire. We grew up together. I knew the rot in Holden's bones. The irony was he knew Mia was alive when he pushed me. And he still wouldn't let me go. After all these years, the bottom line wasn't whether he loved me. It was that he didn't care if I lived or died. On the day of the divorce, Holden didn't show up. I didn't bother calling. I knew he was at the hospital with Mia. Although she wasn't dead, she had multiple fractures and temporary blindness. The lovers were reunited. They couldn't bear to be apart for a second. Holden had flown in a specialist team from abroad. True love indeed. I laughed at myself. Since we had the prenup, I just contacted my lawyer to file for litigation. It was cleaner. Faster. I bought a ticket to the West Coast. I changed my SIM card and deleted all my social media accounts. Sitting on the plane, watching the layers of clouds outside the window, I drifted back to my childhood with Holden. Our families were close friends. Our parents bought estates next to each other. But my parents loved to travel. They were always jet-setting, though always separately.
I didn't understand back then.
I asked Holden, why don't your parents play together? Do they not like each other? I was 7. Holden was 11, already acting like a little adult. He kept a straight face, thought for a long time, and handed me a candy. In the future, I'll only play with you.
I didn't understand then.
Even as I grew up, my brain didn't switch gears. I asked him again. By then, he had graduated from college and taken over the company. He was so busy, he barely had time to eat. It was a week before the end of my sophomore summer break. He came back late. We hadn't seen each other much all summer. That night, I foolishly asked the question again. This time, he didn't give me candy. I remember it clearly. He took off his jacket, cupped my face with both hands, his eyes swirling with emotions I couldn't read. He had been drinking. The sharp smell of alcohol mixed with tobacco hit me. I tried to step back, but he held me tight. His lips brushed my ear, whispering words that made my heart race. Tonight, just the two of us will play. My brain short-circuited before I could react. He kissed me hard. The September night breeze was cool, but it shouldn't have made the flowers bloom so quietly. The flight attendant's announcement woke me. I opened my eyes, dazed. I had fallen asleep. I hadn't dreamed of our childhood in a long time. Getting off the plane, I remembered what happened after that night. Holden and I defined our relationship that night. There was no dating phase. That afternoon, he took me to the courthouse for our marriage license, then told my parents. I complained he was too domineering, that I wasn't mentally prepared. He said, "I'll only feel safe once you're my wife. We have a lifetime to date. Jen, the moment you graduate, we'll have the wedding." Back then, I was drowning in happiness. I forgot that every sequence has a reason. We skipped the dating phase. So later, naturally, someone else came along to fill that gap. After landing, I was too lazy to run around. I found a hotel and slept until the world went dark. I usually have trouble sleeping in new beds, but I slept like the dead. I felt like I slept for an eternity. Through the haze, I heard my phone ringing over and over. I didn't answer. I let it ring until the battery died. I fell back asleep. When I opened my eyes again, for days had passed. I felt refreshed but also a little scared. If I had died there, no one would have known. My phone was flooded with missed calls and texts. I scrolled through, replying to a few I liked. I called my mom and dad separately. They hadn't lived together for years, but they wouldn't divorce. Not because of me. Mostly because their lovers didn't want status, just fun. My parents found divorce too troublesome. Life is short, and they'd be buried together anyway. Aside from their love of playing, they were good people. I used to think I could accept a marriage like that. Just mutual respect without love. Close your eyes, and life goes on. But I realized my parents could do it because love never existed between them. So they didn't care what the other did. But Holden and I, we had loved once. We knew what loving each other looked like. So I couldn't accept that kind of marriage. And he couldn't accept me as death. After hanging up, I received 2 large transfers. They didn't love each other, but they loved me as best they could. Holden had called too. I didn't return it. I chose not to see it. We were divorcing. No point in tangling. After lying in the hotel for a few more days, I realized I had nowhere to go. Thank God, I was born rich. Thanks to my parents and Holden, I had seen things most people never see. Before marriage, I traveled everywhere with friends. The vast deserts, the northern lights, chasing horizons. Sleeping in tents in the wilderness, looking up at the stars. Back then, I dared to think and dared to do. But after marriage, I could only be the perfect Mrs. Winchester. Now I was free. I picked up my old hobbies. I carried my sketch pad, wandering and stopping wherever the wind took me. Sometimes I produced good art. My new social media account gained a decent following. I adopted a cat. I'm terrible at names, so I called her Daisy because of her pattern. Waking up every day to see her curled in my arms, meowing softly, it melted my heart. But I didn't expect to see Holden again. I was carrying Daisy out for a walk when I saw him standing outside my door. I was surprised for a second, then I understood. With his resources, finding me wasn't hard. Inside, we sat opposite each other. I waited quietly for him to speak. Seeing him again, I was surprisingly calm. No questions, no fighting. We weren't even friends anymore. I didn't think he was here to catch up. Daisy sensed the mood and hid in her bed. Holden scanned the room, his gaze finally landing on my face. When are you coming back? Back where? New York. The air was silent. Before I could speak, he continued. Grandfather is worried about you. Jen, you aren't 3 years old. Running off this far without a word? Did you think about anyone else's feelings? Plus, you're pregnant. Come back with me. Have the baby. My mother will take care of you. Holden's voice was tired, but his tone brooked no refusal. I felt a surge of irritation. He still didn't know I'd gotten rid of the baby.
Right.
His heart was with Mia. He didn't care about my affairs. If he had bothered to check once, he'd know the mistake was gone. If the family hadn't forced him, Holden wouldn't be here. I lowered my eyes and sneered. I aborted the child. Thank grandfather for your concern. I'll visit him when I have time. You can go now. He hadn't expected me to be so blunt. Holden shot up, his face black as ink. He gritted his teeth. Say that again. Where is the child? Afraid he couldn't hear, I slowed down and repeated it. I said, I aborted the child. Holden, we're divorced. From now on, please don't disturb me. I walked straight into my bedroom and shut the door. I don't know when Holden left. When I came out, there was a bank card on the coffee table. What was this? Guilt? Compensation? I thought about it for 3 seconds and kept it. Who complains about too much money? I earned this. I went back to my relaxed life with the cat. No shadows of Holden or Mia. Only Luke contacted me occasionally, casually leaking info about Holden and Mia. Like Holden visiting me was kept secret from his family and Mia. Like Holden didn't bring Mia back to the estate. He set her up in a penthouse. Like Mia threw a tantrum, gave him the silent treatment for 3 days, and tried to disappear again. But this time, Holden didn't chase her. He went home alone. Luke asked me what my plan was. I thought about it. I didn't have one. Life goes on. The earth spins without anyone specific. The unwillingness I felt before had dissipated with the wind. I just wanted to live well. But I didn't expect the old patriarch to show up at my door, with Holden's mother in tow. I remembered Luke stammering on the phone last night. I understood now. I looked at the 2 elders on my sofa. I felt helpless and angry. Was this emotional blackmail? Regardless, when I was in the Winchester house, they treated me well. Especially when the Mia scandal broke, the old man went to great lengths to protect my marriage. For a powerful patriarch like him, that wasn't easy. Jen, come back with Grandpa. I won't force you to be with him. I watched you grow up. I don't know how much time I have left. Just accompany an old man. As for you two, decide based on your own hearts. My nose stung. Grandpa really loved me. He was over 80. His health was failing. The mess between Holden and me shouldn't drag others in. Holden's mother sighed, staring at my flat stomach with tears in her eyes. Jen, do you have enough money out here? Is your health okay? She handed me a card.
Take this.
If you don't want to come back, buy yourself something nice. Health is the most important thing. Your parents are never around. I watched you grow up. Those things reached this stage with Holden. It's my failure too. I declined their offers. As they left, his mother wanted to say something but stayed silent. In the car, she called her son. She is living well. Since you chose the one outside, let Jen go. The baby, is it really gone? Holden asked softly. When he went to find her, he didn't know what came over him. He wanted to know how she was, but the words came out wrong. Hearing that she really aborted the baby, he felt a sudden panic. He didn't know where the feeling came from. After years together, he knew her inside out. She was tough on the outside, soft on the inside. No matter how harsh her words were, it was usually to vent, to make him care about her more. So, he thought she was lying about the abortion to spite him. He didn't expect her to be serious. I didn't want to be disturbed by Holden anymore, but I did. To know where to go. If he wanted to find me, he could. I knew the family visit was his idea. I didn't know his motive, habit, or a trace of reluctance. It didn't matter. I sat by the window all afternoon. Before 5, I had nannies and bodyguards. After 5, I had nannies, bodyguards, and Holden. He occupied the most important part of my life. But so what? My life is still long. The past is the past. Holden won't be in my future. That is enough. I canceled my lease and booked a ticket to New York. My mom was there. Worried I might do something drastic, she dragged me around the city, introducing me to her boyfriend. He was an elegant gentleman. Elegant. Totally different type from my dad. He took care of people, making you feel comfortable without overstepping. Uncle Simon had been with my mom the longest. He proposed once, but Mom refused. They broke up, but Mom coaxed him back. Now they were good. Seeing the bright, youthful smile on my mother's face, I laughed out loud. So what if there's no true love? Life is full of scenery. But can someone tell me why the people who shouldn't appear keep appearing? A week after arriving in New York, I saw Holden again. A nameless fire raged inside me. His inexplicable appearances, his family showing up. If I didn't get it now, I'd be a fool. I lifted my eyelids and spoke coldly. What do you want? Do I need to repeat myself? We are divorced. Holden Winchester, can I trouble you, beg you, to never appear in front of me again? Everything is as you wished. The mistake is gone. We are divorced. You can marry Mia and have 100 kids. I don't understand what you're trying to do. I blocked him at the door and said a lot. About the past, about Mia, about the 3 years of pain, about the lost child. With every sentence, his face grew paler. By the end, I felt relieved. Holden's face was white as a sheet. His hand gripped the doorframe, veins bulging. I couldn't close the door. We stared at each other. At this distance, I could see the pleading and pain in his eyes. After a long time, he slowly spat out a sentence. I'm sorry. I regret it, Jen. Forgive me, please? I gave a curt no and slammed the door, shutting out all the noise. This apology came too late. I didn't need it anymore, Holden. That love triangle consumed too much of my time. I didn't dare to look back. And I would never turn back. After that day, Holden moved into the apartment next door. When I went out to paint or walk Daisy, I'd turn around and see him following at a distance. He didn't speak, didn't get close. I pretended he was invisible. Over time, the landlady and the neighbors got curious. They asked who he was. I told the truth. My cheating ex-husband. Everyone sighed, some tried to persuade me. Your husband is handsome and rich. Cheating is normal. As long as he comes home. Turn a blind eye.
Exactly.
Have a kid, secure the assets, and the woman outside can't do anything. This world is ridiculous. The man makes the mistake, but no one tells the man to change. They tell the woman to endure. The landlady pitied Holden. She even cut his rent in half and lectured him. You have such a good wife. Hold on to her. My eyes aren't blind. I can tell Ms. Sterling still has you in her heart. Otherwise, why haven't I seen her go on a date? She patted Holden's hand seriously. I shook my head, laughing and crying. Do older people love to fantasize? Even my mom started asking if I planned to remarry him. I told her seriously, I run a life, not a recycling center. I didn't want to move again. It was exhausting, and Daisy hated it. But the gossip was annoying. He knew when I went out. Every time I opened the door, he was there. In the elevator, the neighbors would smile at us knowingly. Finally, I snapped. Holden, you want me to forgive you? It was the first time I'd spoken to him since he moved in. His hand on his door handle froze. He looked at me with pure hope.
Yes.
How can I earn it? Just say it. I'll do anything. I knew he wasn't bluffing. He could do a lot. Holden, you did so many things to hurt me. Why do you think a few words are enough for me to forgive you? His face went pale. He wanted to speak, but realized it was futile. He knew he was a bastard. Even if I didn't mention the past. Those memories were drilled into his brain every night. He couldn't ignore them. Only endless regret remained. Holden left. He left that night. 3 days later, Luke called me. Holden is in trouble. Will you come back? It might be the last time. After thinking it over, I booked a ticket back. Getting on the plane, I received a text, then turned off my phone. I admit, I'm not a good person. My upbringing taught me that when you can't swallow your anger, wait a bit. Maybe there will be a turning point. When I arrived at the hospital, Holden was stable, but his legs were crushed. He'd be in a wheelchair for life. I comforted his mother and went into the room. Holden was covered in tubes. Machines beeped. The doctor said waking up was up to fate. I leaned in to look at his face. Still handsome. Still made my heart flutter. Too bad we can't go back. Our conversation that day in New York had been simple. I didn't do much. I just said if Holden took back every cent he spent on Mia over the last 3 years, I'd consider giving him a chance. I don't need money. Holden doesn't need money. But Mia needed it. Her background was average. An only child, but her parents gave her little love or money. Once she latched onto the money tree that was Holden, she wouldn't let go easily. 3 years. Her appetite had been fed by Holden. It's easy to go from rags to riches, but hard to go back. During Holden's 2 months in New York, I secretly took photos of him doing things for me and sent them to her. The man who once treated her like a treasure was now chasing his ex-wife. The gap in status and attention drives people crazy. Especially when her beloved man contacted her not because he missed her, but to demand repayment. She had spent that money long ago. I calculated it roughly. Holden spent about $70 million on her in 3 years. In extreme circumstances, specifically cannot have what you want, people do things they regret. Sure enough, Mia, driven by her extreme personality, rammed her car into his. Leaving the hospital, I drove to a remote warehouse. After Holden's accident, Mia was immediately arrested. But because of their epic romance and the family focusing on Holden, no one had dealt with her yet. They thought it was a lover's quarrel. So I bailed her out easily. The man in charge was someone I knew, one of my dad's guys. Seeing me, he stepped up. "Ms. Sterling, she's inside. How do you want to play?" I nodded and walked to the table of tools. I picked up a strange-looking toy. "Run through the list. Leave her breathing for the police. The rest is up to you." You got it. This city was full of places and people I knew, but now I had no reason to stay. I said I wasn't a good person. Mia's 3 years of provocation. Holden's bias. The endless mockery. I became a joke in high society. And the first child I lost was because of Mia's stress. I lay in the hospital for 3 days, and Holden didn't visit once. That was when I first found out about her.
Holden hid it well.
6 months before I found out. Before I knew, he could lie to me. After I found out, he was honest. I remember coming home from the hospital. He sat on the sofa, holding a piece of jewelry from an auction. I could see the engraving. "Mia," he said, "I love someone else. If you don't want a divorce, you can still be Mrs. Winchester." Then he turned cold. "But don't let me find out you did anything to hurt her." Then he left. From start to finish, he didn't ask how I was. Didn't ask why I hadn't been home in 3 days, why I was so pale. Back then, his heart was full of Mia. Mia was tortured beyond recognition before being sent back to the police. With a word from the Winchester family, her life inside would be hell. She should thank me. With me as an example, the suffering she'd face later would be nothing compared to what she did to me. I returned to New York and resumed my life. We hadn't divorced yet, he cheated. Why should I apologize? I heard Holden woke up. Knowing his legs were gone, he was very calm. He only asked one question. "Where is she?" Luke didn't know how to say it. He was silent for a while. "She left. News from Mia's side, she's dead." Holden didn't speak again. He kicked everyone out of the ward, then smashed every machine in the room. In the end, only suppressed sobbing could be heard from the hallway. I continued to go out and paint. Occasionally, I thought about the empty apartment next door. I raised an eyebrow and chose to move again.
People.
You can look back, but never walk back.